Hello, and we're back again with this little Sony device here. This is a TFM 6500L. I assume the L means long wave, so it's a British or European version, because I'm guessing that they wouldn't have long wave in other areas. I've not really been able to place the exact year when this was made. It feels to me like it's late 60s or early 70s, but there's no page on Radio Museum for it, and I haven't been able to find anything. So if anybody does know when this was made, then please do let me know in the comments. It feels to me that at this stage Sony didn't really have much of a house style, and although it actually doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't have that sort of Sony style that feels solid to me. In many ways it's utterly conventional for the time. 3 wave bands, no proper tone control, just a low and high, which is effectively just a top cut, and just the tuning and volume controls on the side. The interesting thing about tuning, it does have some sort of nice little windowed thing here, and there is a reduction there, so it's not just a straightforward turning thing. It does have some sort of gearing. Also, the volume level is indicated in a similar window down here, so as you turn that up, it doesn't go quite to the top, so I don't think it's properly aligned totally with the on and off switch. Round the back, usual telescopic aerial, takes 3 C cells, so runs off 4.5 volt, and there's an option for a 4.5 volt power supply to go in here. Looks like somebody's had trouble, because there's a sort of tape mark here, it looks like somebody's had trouble keeping the back panel on with the batteries in, although it doesn't seem to me that it's particularly unreliable. In fact, I can't even get it open. So yeah, I can't see anything broken on it, so why that's the case I'm not sure. The other odd thing is that there's a sort of burn mark which could have come from a soldering iron here, and a hole, so I don't know quite what's gone on there. Anyhow, let's get some batteries in and see what happens. Right, the batteries are in, so if we switch it on, we don't hear anything. That's not even a click. So look what we're on at the moment. We're on long wave, but it seems to be dead whatever the wave band. I'm not sure you can see it very clearly, but the first thing I've found is that the terminal for the positive side of the battery seems to have fallen out there, so that's not making contact, which is probably why we're not getting anything. So this may be an easy fix, we never know. Right, well this has a vast amount of dust in it, as you can see, so I think the first thing to do is blow all that out. Also, I can see around these electrolytics here there's a lot of sort of either corrosion or leakage or whatever. I'm not sure though, because there seems to be some wax around, so maybe it's just that wax has gone funny, but that might be worrying. The bit that came out here, let's move it round a bit, doesn't look as if it's too difficult to push that back in, although it might need a bit of anchorage. No, actually it goes in pretty well. Perhaps it just needs something to hold it in there so it doesn't come out again. So having done that, I'll blow the dust out of it, and then we'll put the batteries back in and see if we get anything. Right, the batteries are in, so let's see what we get now. We'll get something. I'm not sure which band we're on. That's FM. But I'm not getting anything tuning around it, although I do get some noise.
Talk about the Lib Dem conference.
So, nothing on FM apart from noise. AM, medium wave and long wave, a bit intermittent caused by that switch. So let's clean that switch up and see if that helps matters. Now, cleaning the switch didn't help, and I thought somehow I'm going to have to take it out, dismantle it, so it seems to be mechanically damaged, see if I can put it back together. So I thought we'll take the board out. Here's a mistake you don't want to make, taking the board out of one of these, just in case you ever come across one. I'll try and prevent you from doing it as well. Don't take the screws out that hold the board onto the tuning mechanism. What you need to do is take out that black screw there, which holds the tuning mechanism in, and then the board and the tuning mechanism, assuming you've taken the tuning knob out, will come out in one go. Otherwise, what happens is, of course, the whole tuning cord detaches itself. So we're going to have to rewind that now, which, as you know, is one of my favourite ever jobs. So, forgetting that for the moment, I'll try and get the switch out and see if I can sort that out. Right, so I've redone the string, which was a bit messy. I've got the diagram for it, which I'll show you here. It's not particularly straightforward, and there's this nasty little loop that has to go in as well. I couldn't quite work out how that was supposed to work initially, but it is all done now, so that's back again. That's good news. The having taken the switch out, I decided against trying to dismantle it. It really didn't look like the sort of thing you should try and pull apart. It did have lugs on the side of it that could be prized away possibly, but there was a sort of feeling that it was supposed to be a sealed unit. So I did a bit more rigorous cleaning having taken it out, and that does seem to have cured the problems entirely, including the one I wasn't sure about, which was the FM. So
But this year has been
there's long wave, very faint at the moment, 'cause it's in the wrong direction.
obviously the real season, the car shakes have been putting on in Saudi Arabia have been magnificent. But
Medium wave, and now Chef works. Yeah, all seems to be working, so it's just a matter of putting it together again, really. I didn't change any of the capacitors. I had a look and took one out, and it was fine. It measured okay. I think it's just the fact that the wax that they put on it is discoloured, which is what I could have mistaken for. I did in fact mistake for possibly leakage, but the thing works. Doesn't seem to be a problem there. I was a little bit concerned about this black wire here because I couldn't see where I knocked it off from, but actually it's a black wire that's in this loom but doesn't go anywhere, and that's how it was. Actually, it might just be a thing that holds the loom together rather than it's actually a twisty cable tie type thing. But it did confuse me a bit at one stage. Anyway, it's all working again, so let's clean it up and put it back together.
Saturday breakfast with JK and Kelly Brook. This is hard.
Well, there we are, it's all working again. With a lot of these things, you sort of see the potential for getting like 20 or 30 minutes of video out of them, and I thought we might get a bit more for this because clearly the switch was the problem with medium wave and long wave being intermittent, but the FM was giving nothing, so I thought we'd be into looking at the circuit diagram and seeing which of the transistors have failed, or whether the oscillator was running or things like that. And it turned out cleaning the switch was in fact the answer, and that was all that was needed to do. It's a 4-pole 3-way switch, so 12 contacts. There's quite a lot to go wrong in that switch, and as a result, you know, it's quite possible the FM was noisy but not receiving any signal because one of the poles had failed, so it was a bit one-legged really and not properly functioning. Overall, I think it looks nice now we've cleaned up these scales and things and removed the dust. The sound is not top quality, you wouldn't expect. It's a very small speaker, made by Pioneer actually. The tone control, like most of these sort of things, doesn't really give you a lot of control. It's either too bright in the high position or too muffled in the low position, and possibly mucking about with capacitors you could adjust that. Overall, it's a mid-quality set from a recognised brand, but I think clearly that switch was a weak spot in the design, because I've seen lots of other radios older than this and they haven't had that sort of failure. It's billed here as super sensitive. Is it super sensitive? I wouldn't say super sensitive, but I don't know what that comes to in quantitative terms. It's certainly a bit more sensitive than some of the other radios I've got of that age. You can, I'll see if I can demonstrate this, but I think you can get Classic FM on it, which is usually my test here, because the Classic FM, that's star. Yeah, so there is. There's Classic FM, and that, as I said, is a test round here because the Classic FM signal is pretty weak up there on 101.9, I think it is. On medium wave, it's only about average, I think. I can pick Caroline up on it if I move it away from this bench where the interference is too high for that. But it's not better than other radios I've got, even ones that are 15 years older. So reasonably short video this time. I hope you found it interesting. See you on the next one.